Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at BellisioFoods.com/careers.
This just in.
The Telegram News has a new website.
TheTelegramNews.com.
Same dedicated coverage.
Same trustworthy news with a brand new look.
Covering Jackson and Benton counties and surrounding areas.
Locally owned and operated, TheTelegramNews.com has its finger on the pulse of the community.
Stay up to date on local events, high school sports, and breaking news.
TheTelegramNews.com.
Subscribe today at TheTelegramNews.com.
Check it out.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Friday.
TGIF.
TGIF. Hi, Tanya. Tanya's here. Well,
Okay.
she walked by.
The human resource girl.
That's right.
What
And
a resource.
She is. Good call,
Right.
Pete. Hey, it is Friday. It is playoff Friday here in Jackson. I was going to say, can you shut the door there? Thank you, Dylan. I forgot to shut the door like an idiot. Oh, there's Courtney. Okay. So yes, playoff Friday. Pete Wilson is here to spend the morning with us. James is out, and Pete has on his red Jackson Ironman shirt.
That's your cue, isn't it?
Yes.
As if you didn't know already.
That's right. But you are here also to do a lot of news, and some good, some bad, a lot bad, funny-ish.
It's I tell you, A to Z,
plethora of news.
right, A to Z, all sorts of news going on. We're a community newspaper, so we try to cover the bad stuff, we try to cover the good stuff, and everything in between.
News of the weird.
Everything in between, and I commend the staff for being willing to get out there and hustle and get it. Speaking of the staff, Red Thompson Jr. is in the house.
Okay.
And you know the hours that man works.
I do.
But he really feels that the TV is a great asset for us. And nobody knows more about what's going on in Vinton County and Vinton County news than he.
That is
and
true.
he will be along on the second half of the hour to talk about some things in Vinton County as well. But there is a lot in both counties, and so we'll get right at it.
Sure.
All right. Bad news,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a real tragedy.
bad
Whenever
news.
something like this happens, I mean, you just shake your head. You try to put yourself in the place of the people who are having to endure that tragedy, and it brings tears to your eyes
does.
almost. But probably the headline story in Jackson County is the accidental death of a 2-year-old toddler. This occurred on Wednesday evening, early evening, about 6:30 p.m. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office called to a home just outside Jackson. Some names at this point have not been publicly released, so we're not going to share any at this point. But the point is what happened, and that is the drowning of a 2-year-old. It occurred at 10337 Chillicothe Pike, not too far outside of Jackson, so it was a Jackson County Sheriff's Office report. Mm-hmm. And they were called there because two brothers had found this little girl, this 2-year-old, unresponsive in a backyard pond. Mm-hmm. So this is on residential property where this happened. When the deputies arrived, the little girl had been found by her brother in what was called a goldfish pond that was in the backyard. Mm-hmm. The victim's mother at that point was already there and was trying to perform CPR. The deputies took over the life-saving measures. Then EMS came. They rushed to Holzer Medical Center Hospital. There, the 2-year-old was pronounced deceased. I would say that probably she was dead at the scene out at Chillicothe Pike. As you know, the time there to resuscitate is very limited. On a situation like that. At this point, no other information is being released. I know a lot of people are wondering about the circumstances on how this occurred, but the matter is under investigation by the Jackson County Sheriff's Office.
Just horribly heartbreaking.
It very much is. I know
It can happen so quickly, though.
Right. It can happen so quickly. And, a 2-year-old, even younger than that, they've got their legs, but they don't have control of their bodies, and they don't know not to touch things or do things,
Sure.
obviously. And so, the time when something like this can happen, it can happen in a heartbeat almost.
Just so quickly, yes.
Right. So anyway, that of course is one of the main stories that we are covering, and when more information is released, we will release it then. But we do have that story out on our website and on Facebook as well. All right, another story from the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. This occurred at a school in Jackson. However, it was investigated by the Sheriff's Office because they do the school resource officers for the Jackson City Schools. Northview Elementary School. This occurred on Thursday.
Are you going to get through this with a straight face?
I'm going to.
I'm not.
Okay. Well, anyway, this occurred on Thursday, October 27th. So this is a week ago yesterday.
So it wasn't yesterday. It was last week.
Right.
Oh, okay.
A week ago.
I thought it was just
week
yesterday.
ago from yesterday. Of course, a lot of information was swirling around Northview Elementary School where this occurred. And we made a contact with the Sheriff's Office. They were able to release information on Wednesday on this. And we do have this story out online already, and it will be in our print edition as well. But it kind of an unusual situation there, but still considered a criminal situation. What happened was, this is during the after-school period. I don't have an exact time, but at the time, the Success Program was going on. That is an after-school program
Yes.
that goes on after
With
school
like
is
100
really-
kids.
Right, with 100 kids there. And what happened, according to the Sheriff's Office, I'll try to follow the line of what they released because I wasn't there, all right? But this happened
I'm glad, Pete.
this happened out on the playground.
You weren't
but-
the culprit?
But a married couple are accused, and it's on surveillance, of them allegedly engaging in what was called sexual conduct on a playground swing. Their 3 children were supposedly on the playground at the time, too. It was discovered when a witness came out of the school and saw this, all right? And the names of the suspects are Austin Nelson, age 25, and his wife, Alexis Nelson, age 24. They live in Jackson at Green Meadow Court. And, of course, the Sheriff's Office called. There is a resource officer that covers, 2 resource officers that cover the schools, and one of them must have come, or maybe it was a different deputy, I don't know, but it was the Sheriff's Office. But they confronted the couple. Austin became argumentative when asked about this. He continued to be argumentative and was detained while the investigation continued. According to the Sheriff's Office, Northview provided the deputies, the Sheriff's Office, with video footage of the couple in what appeared to be sexual conduct in the presence of their 3 children. They had the potential, of course, as you pointed out, of being seen by 100 grade school children who were in the Success Program at the school at the time. So, we've got daylight situation here as well, which it all sounds pretty amazing, doesn't it? A witness.
Amazing's not the word.
Right, a witness.
I'm thinking
That's the one I used. A witness told deputies that she had been leaving for the day. When she walked out the back door to the playground's on the back of the school, she noticed a male and female engaged in what is being called sexual conduct on a playground swing. She advised that when she was seen, both individuals, quote, zipped their pants up. The 2 are being charged with public indecency. Now, in the initial release, I don't know what level crime this is. You have misdemeanors, which are your lesser crimes, and felonies, which are your greater crimes. But right now, the initial charge is public indecency. Austin, the male, was also charged with persistent disorderly conduct and taken to jail. That was because of his conduct with deputies when deputies
he argued and fought with them.
confronted the couple, right. So very unusual situation and story there, but obviously one that, I assume is being talked about quite a bit.
Well, let me ask you, Pete.
All right.
You've been married to Pam a real long time.
Yes, 42 42 years.
42 years.
No, I
Congratulations.
take that back. 40 years.
40 years.
40.
Yeah, you better
40
get it right.
No, 40
She's
years.
gonna knock
I'm
the
not at
tar
40.
out of
I'm not
you.
at 42 yet.
Yeah,
40.
okay, 40. That's
Right.
pretty good though.
No, that's pretty good.
That's really good.
Yes.
In your 40 years of ever being married, has playground ever crossed your mind?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Okay.
There are better places.
Yeah.
Right.
Like home.
Right.
You're married, go home.
Yeah, that's that I would have to say that's
Ew, with all the germs and the ew.
well, and then I mean,
It's daylight and there's kids.
well, and then isn't it supposed to be kind of like a private thing between two people? That's what I always thought.
I don't know. Playgrounds never crossed my mind either.
The risks that are involved in doing that. I know you're thinking maybe if you're trying to be liberated, well, this is between myself and another person. We're not hurting anybody.
Correct. Well, you know what? If it had been midnight, I'd have been like, okay, whatever.
Right. Yeah. But then if you are seen or whatever on public property,
that would have been a little more
now,
funny.
I don't know whether it will make the crime more serious. I know it makes the crime more known and more publicized and more talked about. I don't know whether it will bring more serious consequences because it was on school property. I don't know whether the school has any redress there or not. I know that the deputies themselves charge the public indecency charge because, there is much greater charges involved. For instance, if you are doing drugs or trafficking drugs within so close of a school.
So that's a greater charge.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is within, I think it's like 1,000 feet of a playground or school property or whatever.
So we don't know if there's a greater charge for doing the deed closer to a school.
No, or maybe it will be handled in a more sterner manner. Less give maybe, and maybe relaxing charges or not going through the toughest prosecution in the world or whatever. Yeah. So
we're fixing to find out.
We will follow up.
Yes.
All right. Okay. We have another crime in the city of Jackson.
So let me ask you this, Pete.
All right.
I'm just kidding.
No, that's
okay.
okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Okay.
I was just messing with you.
Okay. Well, were you going to ask me something inappropriate?
Probably.
Okay.
No.
Well, that's okay.
I'm just teasing. I really wasn't going to ask you anything else. I was just trying to scare you.
Okay. That's okay.
Because he was like, I don't know what's going to come out of her mouth.
Right. No. Okay. All right. You are ornery today, aren't you? Okay. All right. Okay. The other crime in the city of Jackson that we're going to be reporting on, this one is not online yet, but it will be today, and it will be, in our Saturday edition as well, involves a stabbing incident that took place in the city of Jackson. This was last Saturday evening at 249 Cross Street, a residential house in Jackson. And it involved a father and his 16-year-old son. The name of the father is
Dylan. What did you do? Oh, it wasn't Dylan. Okay.
All right. I eliminated him kind of off the cuff. The name of the father is John Walker, age 37. The name of his son was not released because he is a juvenile, and he, I guess, could be considered both a defendant and a victim as well, because this was a violent domestic violence case.
Yeah.
But the bottom line was that the father and son got in an argument. It became violent. The son, according to the police report, attacked his father with a fillet knife.
Whoa.
And caused some serious lacerations, on his arm. The father, according to what the police said, this is what the father told the police, to try to control his son and defend and to get him to stop, attacked his son with a frying pan. And he said he tried to use the frying pan to knock the knife out of his hand. Well, instead, the frying pan hit the boy on the head, and he bled profusely from a wound on his head.
This is horrific.
Right. And when the police got there, the son had a laceration on his head, and it was bleeding. He was holding his head and crying. His head was covered with blood. Of course, the father was also bloody from being cut by the knife. The bottom line is that, both of them were taken to the hospital. The son has been booked on a charge of felonious assault.
That's a big one, Pete.
Right now, the father has not been charged, according to the initial report we have from the police department. But I'm sure that's all being sorted out and will be reviewed by the prosecutor. But the public, because a lot of it doesn't get reported, because at the time it's a dangerous situation, but it doesn't escalate. There are so many times where law enforcement gets called out because of a domestic situation in the home. There's arguing, maybe a little bit of physical violence, slapping, hitting, or whatever. In this case, both father and son were supposedly involved in a fist fight, and then it escalated to the knife and the frying pan. And so,
yikes.
And so, domestic violence is always a potential charge there, and it can be, a felony as well as a misdemeanor. But in this case, felonious assault is a very serious charge.
It is,
You
even
can
for
tell
a
by
16-year-old.
But you can tell by the name. I know that we have had it confirmed that at least initially the 16-year-old was taken to the juvenile detention facility in Chillicothe.
Well, and you brought that up, domestic violence. You hear about domestic violence, it's typically, as you think of, a husband and a wife situation, but domestic violence is in the home. It could certainly be between, I guess, a father and a son or something like that as well.
Right, it can
you
be.
Don't really think of it that way.
Right, and it really. There's of course lots of factors that can lead to it, but the police will tell you that when the weather changes a little bit and people are cooped up a little bit more, that's usually when the number of cases can increase.
Okay.
Also, in times of stress, that may be that's a personal thing, that happens.
Sure.
But I will just tell you, from covering law enforcement for a long time, there are lots of cases where law enforcement gets called out and they have no idea what they're going to go to. They may go on a domestic violence call, and when they get there, everybody's behaving. They're sorry that the police had to be called. They don't want to be arrested, and it turns out to be nothing as far as charges go.
Yeah.
And other times, somebody may be ready to actually kill somebody.
Yeah.
So,
and you can't take any of that lightly because you don't know.
No, you can't, and
where
that's why
you're at in that
why
scenario.
they drive fast and the sirens are wailing.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we'll turn to a lighter thing now. Last Wednesday afternoon at 3:00, you wouldn't consider that to be a real bustling time at McDonald's, would you? Between the lunch and the dinner trade.
No.
But the dining room at McDonald's on Wednesday at 3:00 was packed, and that was because Ohio Governor Mike DeWine showed up.
What?
Now, this was not publicly announced. It was not a public event. However, many of the public officials and top Republicans were tipped off, and they were there to meet him. He called this. I interviewed him briefly too. I was there. He called it part of his listening tour. He has done this before, stopping at some informal small place like McDonald's. In fact, he stopped at the McDonald's in MacArthur about a month ago, or maybe 6 weeks ago, for kind of the same thing. And then on his way down here on Wednesday, he stopped at the McDonald's in MacArthur again. So he was in both of our local counties on Wednesday. And when he came, I will tell you this: I'm not sure that there wasn't a hand that didn't get shaken. Many cell phone photos, and he just chit-chatted with everybody. There he is, right there, with the Michael kids. That's Seth Michael's kids there, the clerk of courts, and of course...
And Paul Howard photobombing the picture.
Right. Heather, there's Paul right there. And Heather Michael, the principal at Southview Elementary School. That is Aaliyah and Griffin, their children, with Mike. And Mike posed for many photos. Brad Munn was there, the owner-operator of McDonald's, to greet him. He had some food for everybody. There is Mike DeWine meeting Jackson Mayor Randy Evans, and in the middle, watching, is John Lewis, who very prominent in the community on the Jackson County Water Board, the former manager of the Merillat plant here in Jackson.
Okay.
But here was the strange thing. The election is next Tuesday. Governor DeWine is running for a second term. And you know what? He never hardly even mentioned his own campaign or touted himself. He did talk briefly, and he brought up politics in the election, touting other Republican candidates, but not himself. Now, most polls have him well ahead in his race against
would say
Dayton
so.
Mayor Nan Whaley, the Democratic candidate. But it was just kind of a goodwill thing, him coming, and we will have a report on that. I think it will be online this morning, and we will have it in Saturday's paper as well. Speaking of politics, election next Tuesday, of course. The 3 Democratic candidates for Ohio Supreme Court will all be in Jackson for a meet and greet at La Rosa's Pizzeria in Jackson from 4 to 5 p.m. And so a lot of interest in the Ohio Supreme Court race this year. Sometimes people tend to skip that because they don't know a whole lot about it. They don't know the candidates.
Right.
But there's been lots of controversy this year, just like it is with the U.S. Supreme Court, some important decisions, split votes. They get people interested and polarizes things. But there are the Chief Justice seat and 2 of the other seats are on the ballot this year. And so the balance of power between Republicans and Democrats could be on the line. And this year, there are party labels on the judicial candidates at the Supreme Court level. So you know who is backed by the Republicans and who is backed by the Democrats. Before, they always were backed by one party or the other, but it was nonpartisan on a level, ha-ha.
Technically,
Right.
yes.
So
Right.
anyway, the 3 candidates are Jennifer Bruner. She is currently a justice on the Ohio Supreme
I
Court.
know that name.
She's running for Chief Justice. She has some Jackson County connections way back in her family
Okay.
in Soda Township. But she's running for the Chief Justice spot, which is opening up. And then Marilyn Zayas and Terry Jameson, who are current candidates, are running for other justice positions. Right now, all 3 seats are held by Republicans. So Democrats hope to flip one or more of those to maybe get control of the court. The big controversy on the Ohio Supreme Court has been redistricting and the legislative lines because the Redistricting Commission, which is controlled by Republicans, has redrawn the legislative lines for the state representatives and the state senates because of the census. You know, it changed the population and all like that. And 3 different times, I think it's been 3 different times, the Ohio Supreme Court has said they're not fair legislative lines. They favor unfairly. They favor the Republicans too much because Republicans have control of the thing. And the thing about it is, the Chief Justice, who is a Republican, Marilyn O'Connor, has voted with the Democrats each time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's been very
Interesting.
interesting. Doesn't look good for the Republicans when one of their own says, you know, this isn't fair what you're doing.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens on that. So that has made, if you're interested in that and you want to hear from those 3 candidates on the Democratic side, once again, they'll be at La Rosa's Pizzeria between 4 and 5 p.m. on Friday. Today. That's today. Right.
That would be today.
Okay. And then the election, of course, next Tuesday. We'll talk a lot more about that maybe on Monday.
Yeah, I was going to ask, could you bring in some, just to kind of clear up some things for
Yeah,
the fall?
there's some things on the local ballots, both in Jackson and Vinton counties. There's district level things. But the state thing is the state races are really getting a lot of interest. You know, you got
Which isn't normal.
Right. You got the governor. You've got four other seats at the executive level: Secretary of State, Treasurer, Auditor, Attorney General. Then you've got, of course, the U.S. Senate. That's maybe the big one because it's very close between the Republican candidate J.D. Vance and the Democratic candidate Tim Ryan.
What are we going to do without all those ridiculous commercials?
Yeah, well, they keep contacting me, both sides.
My goodness.
Yeah,
I mean,
my email, not that I've
it's like
solicited
must-see TV.
My email, my work email has increased by at least 100% on the notifications and the pitches from the different
both
candidates,
sides.
especially on the U.S. Senate side.
Uh-huh.
On the U.S. Senate side. And of course, that is because who knows, maybe every state says this, where they have a close race, but the balance of power in the United States Senate is a really big deal. Right now, the Democrats control by the one vote, and of course, they have the vice president.
Mm-hmm.
So they control the Senate right now. If a couple of those votes flip, the Republicans will be in control. And there's about 6 or 7 states that are considered closer toss-up races.
Yep.
Ohio is one of them.
Yes. We're, one of, say 7 or something like
Right,
that.
but we will talk about that on Monday with some things. You can early vote this weekend
Yeah,
at the
that's
Jackson
a
and
big
Vinton
thing.
County. Right, it's tonight
So
until 7
convenient.
p.m. at both boards of elections, all 88 in the state, as a matter of fact. And then tomorrow it's 8 to 4, and then on Sunday it's 1 to 5.
Make
and then
sure you take
even,
your
and then you can
license.
even do it on Monday from 8 to 2. So
That's
early
right.
voting, and then you can also turn in absentee ballots all the way until 7:30 on Tuesday evening.
That's right. Don't wear candidate stuff. Take your license. What are some other things that'll get you bounced right out of there?
You got to have your ID with you, right? And you
Don't wear candidate stuff.
No, you're not supposed to do that, and
Okay.
you're not supposed to bring signs or anything
Yeah.
and park outside
No
the
buttons
Board of
on your-
Elections,
Yeah.
right? And it's very easy to do. You know, now it's away from the electronics. You're doing it's electronic scan. You feed it into a computer, but you know you're drawing ovals. That's hard for me to stay within the lines.
Know. And it just gives you nightmares of like school.
Right, exactly. Just fill in the dots.
I thought I was done with this.
Right. But anyway, we'll turn to business real quick because we've got a lot of ground to cover here before Red comes in. They did the groundbreaking on Tuesday. We talked about that before through the Casa Grande restaurant, which is going to be right there on Main Street. There is the group that was there for the ribbon cutting. You see Jackson Mayor Randy Evans in there.
That's actually the other one.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. That is the other one. We have two groundbreakings, so I understand the confusion. But this is the Casa Grande one. If the Dylan can get that up there, it's the other groundbreaking picture.
We covered it.
But anyway, this will be
Wednesday. So
Casa Grande is a Mexican restaurant. They have two other restaurants. It is the Ortiz brothers that are doing it. And the big announcement was, and this was kind of known, but they made it official. There's also going to be a Tuscany's restaurant right next to it. Now that will be built later, and the time frame has not been announced, but it will probably follow on the heels of the Mexican restaurant, which they hope to open sometime in 2023, probably no later than the middle of the year, I think they're shooting for.
Okay.
And the dirt is already flying there, as you know if you drive by on East Main Street. All right. Okay, now that picture you had up there, Dylan, if you can put it back up there, because this is the next groundbreaking we're going to talk about. This is the Buckeye Community Services new group home. That is located on Pearl Street, 265 Pearl Street, right behind the PNC Bank. Is the best reference point there. PNC Bank faces Broadway, and that's on the back side. Mayor Randy Evans is on the far right. He's there because he's the mayor, and he's there because he's the contractor. Randy Evans Construction will be building it.
He's wearing all kind of hats.
Right, and you know Susan Daniels, who is on the BCS board, and Patrick Ball, who's on the BCS board, they were there. Cindy Brooks, who is the executive director, she's in that picture, and there's other BCS people as well. And Robin Skaggs from the Chamber of Commerce is there on the far left. But that building will serve as the new group home for the developmentally disabled females that are currently in a group home that's kind of like a house. It's a two-story house at 6 West South Street, just catty corner from Cardo's Pizza. And this will be a new modern facility located very close to the downtown, of course. But the big thing, it will be on one floor.
Yes.
Right. So because some of those ladies are older now, and you know they're having to deal with steps, and they won't have to in this new location. And so construction should begin very soon, probably before the snow flies, and they hope to have it done before the end of 2023. But it'll be a fairly big building, and that once again serves 8 developmentally disabled females. The concept is these women need some help, some assistance, but this allows them to be independent. Other than that, they're not in some institution where there's right, and people
they just have
live in there, and they also come to help them each day. But there's a lot of things that they can do on their own with assistance.
What will become of the house that they live in now? Has anyone said?
I'm not sure what BCS is going to do with it. I know they own it. They may put it on the market. I will have to ask that question. I was involved in some of the meetings when this was discussed, and I think that they're going to put it on the market.
Okay. I just wondered if there was like another.
It isn't like an expansion where they're going to be both places.
Okay.
All right. I found the other one.
All right. Okay. There is the other picture right there. Hard hats here. That's because they're actually working now, and some of the representatives in there. I mentioned. Mayor. Well, Mayor Evans, there's Mayor Evans on the left there, and some of the folks from the CIC are in that picture there because the Jackson CIC sold the land that made that possible for commercial development before they had that with the idea of maybe industrial development, but there's plenty of land for that. As I think we will learn later on soon, another project is in the works. But Stockmeister Construction Services, our own here in our own building, they're going to be the contractor for that. So they were represented at that groundbreaking as well. All right, on the other side of building development, there's going to be a lot of demolition projects taking place in Jackson County and Benton County for that matter too, coming up soon. And this is through grant money that has come through the Jackson County Land Bank from the Ohio Department of Development. The idea is, yes, it is getting rid of some blighted slum structures, but it's also opening the way for new development. That is why the Ohio Department of Development was willing to finance all these demolitions. One of the first buildings to go down in Jackson will be this building. You recognize that, Jennifer, right there on Bridge Street, next to the new Dollar General store. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe there might have been a bait shop in there. There might have been some antiques in there.
Jeff's bait shop.
Antiques?
And then he did antiques too.
Right, I think his mother had done that, and then Jeff had the bait shop there.
Yep.
So that building goes back a ways, but
he used to have great Christmas trees too. He sold
I remember
wonderful Christmas trees.
You always see them propped up against there.
Yeah.
But that building, a contract is. I know that they are looking at contract proposals that were made from 6 or 7 different contractors, and so they will sort that out. And when they do, this will be. I think there's 6 or 7 buildings that are involved in the first round of demolition, but there's a total of like 50 some in the county.
A lot.
So these will be first. And I think demolition projects can take place in any kind of weather.
They can, but one thing I do want to stress is, if you say, oh, well, why is this building looks like it's in worse shape. Some of the buildings have asbestos. Some of them have, other things that take a little bit longer to sort out. So they do what they can when they can, and then so on and so forth.
Right,
so
yeah.
There's like phase 1 and phase 2. And, if this building has tons of asbestos in it, we're going to have to work. That's going to take a little bit longer.
Right,
So.
it is. Sometimes, they do get held up with those issues with some of the older buildings, particularly buildings built in a certain era where asbestos, when they didn't know that it had some health dangers
Correct.
with it.
Like between X and I don't know what the years were, but
50s are in there, I think.
yeah. So it's like between here and here, look out.
Right, exactly. Okay, we're going to cover some other smaller things and get into sports here before we get red on. The leaves are falling, and so we've got to get rid of them, right?
Yep.
Okay. The city of Wellston, this is important, very timely.
Okay.
They will do free leaf pickup, but you've got to kind of set it up and order it. And today is the last day to do that.
Do they have a giant leaf sucker machine too?
Well, they have some way to do it. This is the last day to schedule a free leaf pickup. You have to call the water department. That number is 384-2040. You can go on the Wellston City page or on their website. I'm sure that number will be there. But you've got to do that no later than today. After today, you'll be charged an additional fee for them to pick up your leaves. You have to put the leaves in a clear bag too. That's, I'm sure, so they know that you're really throwing away leaves.
Ah, that makes sense.
The bags must be clear to be eligible for free pickup, and it must be scheduled in advance.
Ah.
So, free is resonates, right? You don't want those leaves hanging around on your property. You don't want them. You don't want to rake them and then have them blow right back where they were before. So this is your last day to do that in Wellston. In Jackson, leaf pickup orders are now being accepted. They started on October 24th.
We have a giant leaf sucker machine.
Okay.
Yes.
Right, the leaf blowers and the leaf suckers. But it will go through.
It's cool.
Okay, it'll go through Friday, December 9th. So you have some time. But once again, they do want you to call to have your leaves pick up. Call the utility office at 286-4419, and a work order will be made for that address regarding leaf pickup. They will come soon after that, maybe not immediately, but they will schedule it. The street and alley department will group work orders together, so it's efficient. They're picking up several at a time in an area. All leaf piles must be at the curbside, not in the street or gutter. Piles must be free of branches, sticks, and trash. It sounds like you don't have to bag them in Jackson. You just have to put them at the curb. They don't want them in the street, but they want them curbside.
At the curb, not in the street.
Right,
At the
exactly.
curb. Yeah.
Right, very, very important there. All right. Also, we want to announce that the Viking Players will be presenting a play, Till Death Do Us Part, this Saturday evening. One performance. It's kind of like a dinner theater.
Oh.
$10 ticket and you get a spaghetti dinner along with the
Nice.
performance. There's still tickets available. They were selling them in advance, but you can get them at the door as well. That's 7 p.m. at the Vinton County High School cafetorium, and Joy Henderson does a great job with the plays up there. And this is another one coming up on Saturday. Another new business downtown. It's called Hidden Treasures Wholesalers. It is at 222 Pearl Street. They are already open, but they're having an open house on Saturday.
Where is that?
222 Pearl. Let me think. I'm guessing that would be in the block towards the fire station from Corner Pub. You know, that direction, somewhere around the city utility office in that block, 222 Pearl. I'm not really sure. We're going to do a story on it, and then we'll know for sure. But they called, interested in getting a little publicity because they are new. But the young lady that does this is Jennifer Smith. It's Hidden Treasures Wholesalers. It's Hidden Treasure Wholesalers is the name. And at the open house at 222 Pearl Street, they'll have door prizes, gift certificate giveaways, open house, free and open.
I know where it is.
Free hot dogs will be served to the attendees. More coverage on this business will be available. Where is it? I want to know.
It just dawned on me where it is. I believe it's right across from like the local salon.
The local salon.
Like
okay.
The
right in that block between
the Mason building.
Right across from the Mason building
street.
and between the Adams accounting office and Corner Pub in that block. I was pretty sure it was
There's
in
a
that
building
block.
there, and I believe that I saw people moving stuff in and out. So
okay. All right. Well, anyway, we'll learn more about that. Okay, Christmas tree display in Oak Hill. They always have that down in Central Memorial Park.
They do.
Now is the time to order trees. It's the 7th annual Christmas tree lighting. That's where people, businesses, organizations can decorate a Christmas tree. You buy them ahead of time. Then if enough people do that, and they always do in Oak Hill, you have a great Christmas tree display, and they'll light them up on the first Saturday in December as part of their pre-Christmas celebration. So the Oak Hill Historical Society is doing this. It's a 6 foot 8 Christmas tree. They will deliver it to Central Memorial Park by Saturday, November 26th. You have to have your tree decorated by Thursday, December 1st, and then on the 3rd, that's when all the Christmas tree lighting. That's when the Christmas tree lighting will take place at 5:45. The trees cost $45 and can be reserved at the Oak Hill Historical Society Facebook and website. That's oakhillhistoricalsociety.com. They are organizing the project and have from its inception. So we know we do the thing in Wellston. The Ohilco Society does it in Wellston. The Historical Society from Oak Hill does it in Oak Hill. And I'm sure it will happen in Jackson too, although we've not received any details. Cultivating Our Future and Barbary McCatherine kind of partner with the city in that. I don't want to get the cart ahead of the horse, but it's happened every year. I assume it will happen again.
We assume it
with
will
her
be this year.
Or somebody.
Yes.
And they're also going to have a tree display. We're getting the details on this at the Vinton County Fairgrounds.
Oh, cool.
The Fair Board is doing that as a fundraiser and as a community project.
Nice.
All right. Larry Zorns. Nice guy, is he not? We've had him on TV before.
Yes.
We've had him on the radio. We talked to him about articles for the paper. He is the fellow that does the Sons of Liberty muzzle loaders, and they do the indoor trade fair.
He's one of the Larrys.
Well, you know what? He's also a Marine, and he organizes or helps organize the Marine Corps birthday celebration.
Okay.
On November the 10th. It happens to be the day before Veterans Day. It'll be the 247th birthday of the Marine Corps, and they will have a dinner on November the 10th at the DAV building on Pearl Street, and this will be open to Marines and their families. They do ask, it's a catered meal, so they do ask that you make a reservation in advance so they can prepare adequately. Attendees are asked to contact the Jackson County Veterans Service Office at 286-3004 or drop by that office no later than next Tuesday, November the 8th, and they will make plans for this big dinner on the 10th. Veterans Day, of course, a week from today on the 11th.
Okay.
All right. And we will have that in the paper too. It is in the paper and online as well if you want to go over what I've said. This is the weekend for Scouting for Food in both Jackson and Vinton counties. The Scouts will be out putting out the plastic bags, empty plastic bags. And the idea is you're supposed to fill it with non-perishable
Put
food.
stuff in it.
And they will pick it up the next Saturday.
Yep.
You can also drop off food if you would prefer, as on your own, or you can take your bags to the CVS in Oak Hill, the Christ United Methodist Church in Jackson, the Hope United Methodist Church in Wellston, or Renovate Life Church of God in MacArthur. All right, the Support Our Soccer Shopping Extravaganza is tomorrow. That is a big fundraiser for the Jackson soccer program. I went to it either last year or the year before. It is a big deal. They have all sorts of vendors and crafts and everything out there.
It's a huge deal,
It is a big auction vending thing. There'll be a Chinese auction, a silent auction, baked goods for sale. They'll have a chicken and noodle dinner, much more. 80 vendors and crafters, they feel, minimum.
Wow.
That'll be at the Jackson High School Fieldhouse, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. tomorrow. All proceeds will go to support the Jackson High School soccer program. That's both high school and middle school. Last night, Red Thompson Jr., he's not going to talk about this, but he went to the Wellston Rotary Club Pancake Supper. So we're going to have coverage on that.
Something makes me think that Red doesn't miss many pancake suppers. Do
Right.
you, Red?
Well, he can talk about the pancakes if he wants, but we're going to have coverage coming on that. Okay, I got my red shirt on.
You do.
The Jackson Ironmen play the Granville Blue Aces tonight.
That's
Second round of the playoffs. It is a quarterfinal in Region 11, Division 3, and this should be a big game and a big hurdle for the Ironmen after they won easily last week.
Yeah.
Granville is the defending regional champion.
Uh-oh.
And they're coming to our field to play. Jackson lost to Granville several years ago, 38-7 in the playoffs. So we owe them one. But that's easier said than done because they have a really good program. Their record, like ours, is 9-2.
Okay.
They are a passing team. They passed their 2,200 yards their quarterback has. That's more than even Jacob Winters, who is our Division I quarterback.
Yeah.
We run the ball a little bit more than they do, but it should be a great matchup. The winner will play the winner of another quarterfinal game between Columbus Bishop Watterson and London. That'll be taking place the same time. Tonight's game, 7 o'clock kickoff. We will be on the air, Dan, and Pete.
Woo, the Dips.
Right, at 6:35 p.m. We'll have the Coach Andy Hall show and all pregame information. And, of course, it's streaming as well as on the radio. So
That's right.
Now,
Download your Total Media Radio app if you can't go to the game.
We want to tell you, it'll be a little bit different. This is the High School Athletic Association has got complete control. And there will not be a school stream this time by JHS Media Group. A lot of people also tune into the game that way. They can't do it because Spectrum is going to be there to do their own video feed.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you can access that as well, online through Spectrum. And a lot of people have asked about tickets. This has been a controversy because you can't buy a ticket locally. You have to buy it online.
Yeah.
You can still do that. You can do it up to you can walk up and do it, but you got to do it online. You do it on the Ohio High School Athletic Association website, and there is a link on the Jackson City Schools website and Facebook. But the tickets are $10 for adults, $8 for students.
Okay.
And so all kinds of ways to do the game, but online. But that you cannot get a paper ticket. You have to do it online or get somebody to do it for you. That is, to me, that is unfortunate. That is the only way you can get a ticket.
It is.
All right, and the only other thing before Red comes on is do not forget to fall backwards, Jennifer. It won't hurt. You've got to do it. The worst thing about it is if you don't pay attention to that, you'll just get started earlier than you need
get
to.
somewhere real early.
You get your 25-hour day on Sunday, so take advantage of that extra hour. But technically, it happens at 2 a.m. on Sunday.
Yes.
That means you fall back to 1 o'clock. We go away from daylight savings time to regular standard time.
That's right.
And it won't change again until March.
You got it. They're actually talking about doing away with it, I heard this morning on the news. So that should be interesting.
Right. Well, at least I think we've got it where everybody does the same thing. There were some states that didn't do it before. But there's a lot of arguments either way about the consistency.
I get it. It's just a pain in the rear end. It's almost like you wish they would just leave it alone.
Right. The big push always, I've always heard why there's daylight savings time, it's through business. Because then, the businesses are, if there's daylight, people tend to be more active.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, they go out and eat. They go out and go to the store. They're more likely to do that with an extra hour of daylight in the evening after work. I don't know whether you want to buy that or not, but that's supposed to be the impetus.
I think that just sounds like a big bunch of crap.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to.
Hey, one more thing
yes.
before you leave.
Yes.
Don't forget Pups on the Patio tomorrow
Oh,
at
that's
Six
right.
Sense Brewing.
Oh, okay.
So if number one, we need dog wranglers. So
Okay.
if anybody's interested, please get a hold of us or the Dog Pound, because we need people to come get the dogs and bring them to our patio. And we're going to hang out for the afternoon, noon to
Okay.
3. You'll get to see adoptable dogs. You can get your dog microchipped. Bring your dog with you. We're just going to have a fun day. It's going to be like 80 degrees outside. It's going to be beautiful.
You can go online and shop for a dog, a pedigree, one with a pedigree and all like that. But don't you feel good when you save a dog?
I mean, we had
A
2
rescue
here
dog.
yesterday that, one was a senior dog, one was the youngest one they have at the pound. So
Right.
you have all of this variety.
I really like that senior dog.
Isn't he cute, Hank? He's adorable.
Right. I've got 2 wonderful cats, not dogs, but they are both rescues. I don't think either one.
See?
I don't think either one of them would have lived if it wouldn't have been for us taking them in.
There you go.
So there you go.
Yep.
All right. Well, I will change seats with Red Thompson Jr. We thank him for coming. We thank Dylan for doing what he is doing, and we always thank Jennifer. You are the glue of the show. You make it happen. So we thank you.
I don't know about that, but thank you,
All
and
right.
thanks for spending your morning with us. And good luck. Go Ironman tonight. Come on over, Red. Red is not a morning person, but he is here. So you must have something serious to talk about.
Well, we do. And
Okay.
Thank you for having me again, Miss Jennifer.
Of course.
Appreciate it. Yes. A lot going on in Benton County, and that's where we want to start at this morning. And they're playing some musical chairs with county offices.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
First of all, the sheriff's office is about to move for the first time since, Jennifer, listen to this, since Abraham Lincoln was president.
Shut up. Are you serious?
Yes,
Oh my gosh.
they are moving from a building built in 1860 to one built in 1991.
Well, that sounds better. Although it is kind of sad to move from, the place that you've been all that time, but
It
it's in pretty
is.
bad shape, isn't it, Red?
It is, and it's certainly historic, and it's where the first female sheriff, Maud Collins, served.
Mm-hmm.
But for modern law enforcement, I mean, let's face it, law enforcement is where you go for an emergency, and that place is certainly not equipped for emergencies.
No.
They're moving to a very nice place, the DD building, north of MacArthur.
Okay.
The Sheriff Ryan Kane said, for the next, temporarily, they're going to have 2 offices because with it getting cold, obviously Saturday's not going to be cold, 80 degrees. But he's concerned about, he wants the water and the plumbing and the heat running and up there at the new place
Sure.
because the DD moved out.
Okay.
So there's no heat, there's no
Yeah.
water.
Buildings sitting empty in the winter is bad.
No, especially with the sheriff's office, we have emergencies.
Yes.
Yes, we
Correct.
want. They don't want 2 buildings not equipped for emergencies.
Yeah.
So they're going to do that. So, and the county also got good news about another possible move. The EMS building, they might can move it too.
Okay.
The EMS building is small, and it's north of MacArthur, and the traffic on Route 93 it can get heavy at times.
Mm-hmm.
And the EMS has always been concerned about that they're going to have a run and they can't get on the road.
Makes sense.
And it's also they only have 4 stalls for 3 stalls for 4 ambulances.
Gotcha. So somebody loses out on that, huh?
So, yeah, and sometimes the medicine has to be left outside.
Okay.
And not outside, but in the ambulance.
In the ambulance, yeah.
That's not ideal. So they have a big space on Walnut Street, MacArthur, where the highway guards was,
Mm-hmm.
and there's stalls, 7 of them,
Oh, okay.
and they're almost new. They were in good shape, so they got to renovate the office building, and they'll have a very nice EMS.
Good. Okay.
And the traffic on Walnut, the traffic there is much, much less. So they were
Cool.
easy access.
Yep.
So we have that. And also, we have the basketball teams at Benton County and Oak Hill have something special this winter.
They do.
Yeah. Todd Compton, the sports editor, has researched this. Oak Hill set this up, but Benton County's also in on it. Jennifer, they're going to play a game at the historic Hoosier Dome, or gym
Really?
in Indiana.
That's cool.
Did you see Hoosiers, the movie?
Yeah.
That's what was shot with Gene Hackman.
Okay.
And it's become a museum and basketball, I guess, destination, and teams can play there. And
That's neat.
I guess that we've arranged it. Todd and myself's going to be there for the game. And we're going to try to file reports for TV and call them for the paper. And Oak Hill and Benton County is going to play in that 600-seat gym.
600 seats.
Did you see the
funny.
movie?
Yeah.
It looks just like the movie.
That's awesome.
They updated the floor. They updated the scoreboards. But other than that,
Cool.
it's the same. So see that in the Telegram. It'll be in Saturday's edition. Oak Hill head basketball coach Heath McInnes, he coordinated this.
Good.
Also, back to tourism, the Hotel MacArthur renovations continuing.
Mm-hmm.
And Dylan, do you have a video that there it is? The Convention and Visitors Bureau has moved into the hotel.
Oh, okay.
And there you go. Look at that.
Wow, that's
You wouldn't have believed that.
no.
That is actually part of the hotel renovation.
Wow, great.
And I have a video with some of the construction guys. Do you have it, Dylan?
Yep, I can play it now.
Okay, let's go and play that. So here we go.
I'm okay with all that, man.
Go ahead.
William Swaball with L&J.
Okay, how you spell that?
SCHWALBACH.
With L&J,
Yeah.
St. Celesky,
Benton County.
MacArthur, okay.
Brad Leeson with L&J's also out of Benton County MacArthur.
Okay.
Joe McCoy, and I'm associated with Bubblewood out by Lake Hope.
Okay. Hey, Joe, tell us about what all you guys have done over the last 2 weeks here.
Well,
Over the last few months, I mean.
mostly just scaling the outside of the building and getting it down to the original brick. And yeah, using scaff and ladders and working with a good group of guys. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, guys, congratulations. The place is looking great. Show you what they've done a little bit. They've taken all that brick that was put in the 1990s off the walls, and they have got the Benton County Visitors Bureau moved in here. So good work, guys. There's a picture of that, and we'll have more on this as it develops. Alrighty.
Cool.
You know, they've done a wonderful job. As you saw some of the early pictures that we ran.
They were it was questionable, yes.
They spent $20,000 just to fumigate the place. $20,000. So look at it now. So
Yes.
you can tell that. I mean, certainly, you know, this is a major undertaking, and you know, we were discussing tourism and we discussed music, but you know, I've also got a column coming, and Jennifer, this might be a great chance. Instead of just concentrating on music, for these organizations to come up with stuff for tourists to make money for the organizations, kind of fit into the regional tourism plan.
Yeah.
We have a lot of great things going on the weekends, and if we can just bundle it, and
Sure.
you got to keep these people entertained.
You do. You gotta give them something to do.
Like your dog. That'd be a great thing for people from Columbus to come and they can
Yeah.
adopt a dog. And,
That's right. Come down, hang out on the patio.
And
It's going to be 78 degrees. Come on down.
well, it's kind of warm for November.
It is. When we booked the event, I was like, I don't know about November 5th, and here we are. It's going to be beautiful. So
It is, and we just have a lot of interesting things coming up. As Pete said, come out tonight, support the Ironman.
Yep.
It's just going to be a great atmosphere, second round playoff game, and
Yep.
nice weather, and we also want to congratulate just all the fall sports teams. It takes a lot to get out there and play every day. every
Yes, it
night,
does.
every week.
Dedication.
And some of the kids, they practice every day, don't get to play in the games, and it's nice when they get in.
Mhm.
So it's always nice when they can do that. But we have a lot coming up in Benton County. We have a school board coming up. There'll be more on the vaping policies, and we're going to find out. Apparently, that's become a big issue.
You know, it was funny. It's not funny, but it's interesting that that's an issue because so Jamie and I were in Cincinnati a month ago or something like that. And we went to this little diner. And I think I told you the story about the waitress that comes to Hocking Hills. Well, the diner is super busy, so it has a long wait. It had like an hour-long wait. So when I went in, I talked to this young man, and I was like, he was like, well, let me put you on our list. And I was like, well, tell me about the place. Like, is it, and he was like, oh, you got to get this and this. And he was just such a like well-spoken young man. And, but I could tell he was totally in high school. And, so when we came back, like waited and we came back, he's outside vaping. And I'm like, what are you doing? You are too young for that. And I'm like giving him this whole thing. And then he was talking about going to his prom. I'm like, stop this vaping thing. I couldn't believe it.
Thank goodness I never smoked.
Yeah.
But I tell you, the first time I saw someone vape, they were in on my night job when my client lived in a trailer. Someone was vaping in the kitchen, and I pulled up for the midnight shift. I thought the trailer was on fire.
Yeah, because it just goes everywhere. Yeah.
Oh, so I thought, oh my goodness, Gary's place is on fire.
So
goodness.
Dylan's in high school. Dylan, do a lot of the kids vape? I'm just asking, like not necessarily at school, but just like in general. Is that like a teenager thing to do?
It's not as popular as it was when it first came out, but
Okay.
I believe a few students do. I don't think they do at the school, but like I do know a few people that I think do.
Okay, interesting.
That must be tough to disguise because there's so much smoke. How do they disguise it?
Yeah, that's why I don't think they do at the school. I don't think you can hide it, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were some people who managed to find some sort of skill in doing it. Maybe like whenever you try to hide it, maybe they have like long sleeves and like blow it into their sleeves or something. But
Yeah.
they'd probably come out your hood and that'd look even more obvious.
That'd be real- look like your head's gonna explode.
Now, would that set off the smoke alarm?
No, it's
I
just
don't
like
believe it would.
it's like
No.
a vapor. It's not like smoke. It's not the same.
Oh, I tell you, it sure does look like it.
I know it does. You're right. Which makes you wonder what kind of chemicals you're breathing out. But
we have. We remember to get out and vote Tuesday.
yes,
It's Ohio's right in the center of this Senate race.
man, we are.
You get on the national news, and this Ohio Senate race is right there in the middle of it.
Yeah. Do you want to vote for the horse thief Taxon Tim Ryan or the horse thief JD Vance? Depending on who which commercial you listen to.
Yeah,
Good grief! I've never heard anything so bad.
Yeah, it was nice to have the governor with us on Tuesday.
Yeah, that was cool.
It's always, and he came up to Benton County to the McDonald's. The governor must like McDonald's because he stopped at both of them. So, McDonald's is so Americana. I remember
It is.
years ago when Lake Placid, New York, got the Olympics.
Uh-huh.
And when I went up there for an ill-fated job, but that's been a long time ago. But one story they did tell me was when they got the Olympics, they didn't have a McDonald's.
Oh.
And the people in town, I guess, got concerned. They said, well, we can't have the Olympics without the sign of Americana or to be McDonald's. So they went out and got a McDonald's.
Really?
That's what they told
Just
me.
for the Olympics. Who
Yeah.
knew?
So I guess McDonald's is some kind of symbol of America.
makes sense.
It's really iconic. So, and they've been around, 60, 70 years? I guess
Long
it started
time.
in the
I
50s.
don't know. We'll have to ask Brad Munn about that.
Yeah, so, McDonald's it's certainly part of America. And we certainly have a lot going on as we get ready for Christmas. Matt played some Christmas music this morning.
I know. I talked about my radio station disappeared off the Sirius because they put a Christmas station on, and I was like, I don't know about that on November 1st, but okay. But it's a country Christmas music station, which country Christmas music is by far the best.
We know back in the day, I heard Ralph Emery, a famous DJ. He said back in the day they started playing Christmas music right after Thanksgiving, and it gradually increased. And then they'd play Christmas on Christmas Day. They'd play Christmas music all day.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, they would decrease the Christmas music until New Year's.
Right. That makes total sense, doesn't it?
They don't do that anymore.
No, it's just all full out.
The day after Christmas, they go back to the whatever format that they have. But Christmas,
it's like all or nothing.
Remember the shoebox. The shoebox is for the kids overseas. And remember, there's a lot of kids that don't have the best Christmas. So go out and try to support these organizations that's trying to make Christmas better.
You're right. Exactly. Think of others this time of the year. We should do it all year long, but this seems to be the time of the year where you focus on it. So do that. Words from Red Thompson Jr. today. Well, Red, thank you for spending your morning with us. We greatly appreciate it. Thanks to Pete for being here. And he is now putting on his, he'll take his news hat off here in a little bit and go put on his stats hat. And we'll see how the Jackson Ironmen fare tonight against Granville. Good luck, Ironman, and we'll be rooting for you. So have a wonderful day. Come out and see us tomorrow at the brewery. Meet some wonderful pound dogs. If you'd like to hang out with one for the day, you're more than welcome. We'd love to have you volunteer as well. Noon to 3 at the brewery, 6 Cents Brewing here in Jackson. So there you go on that. So have a great weekend. Enjoy some beautiful weather, and we'll see you right back here on Monday. Bye.